practice number 7. Really encouraged by the continued effort and focus. The guys are flying around. Big install for us today, so probably a little bit slower in some ways because of that, but that's expected. With this time of the week, and then we'll review everything and clean it up on Thursday, and then to have our first big scrimmage on Saturday. So, but yeah, very encouraged by the progress we continue to make. Love our team's mindset right now, and it's a hungry group for sure.
Speed defensively is something you've always talked about. I know it's something you've recruited. Do you feel like, I imagine no coach is ever quite where they want to be with things like that, but do you feel like that quality is where you kind of at least need it to be defensively?
It's noticeable in moving in the right direction, I think. And when you watch the film, sometimes you don't always see it, because I see it every day, but especially when people come here that haven't watched this, or haven't been here for spring, it's probably the first thing they comment on is the speed of the defense, and I think this combination of guys just being, another year older, more mature, understand what they're doing better, but just recruit the speed. I think that if you want them fast, recruit them fast. And obviously Coach Ballou and Dr. Ray are doing a great job developing that and enhancing that once we get him here and our entire strength staff. But I just think that in order to create takeaways, speed's a big part of that. Get you to the ball quicker, more violent when you get there, disrupts better. Gets those tip balls end up being pick balls, and the windows get closed down better in the secondary. So all those things add up to create takeaways and create the kind of defense that we want. So, and I think you noticed it too on a lot of third down emphasis today, and bringing a lot of pressures, and that's what we do, and that's growing, and the speed up front. I thought Madison Norris really flashed to me today. He's continued to do a really good job for us, but I thought today was his best day, and that's kind of be his, in my mind, that's his #1 job, is to rush the passer, and that's why we brought him here, and continue to put weight on him and continue to get him stronger. But he's got very, very good speed, and he's learning how to use his technique better. So things like that show up, and that's what you want to see.
I think James Head was another guy you mentioned up front. You were kind of encouraged to see, or intrigued to see this spring. As near in the midway point of spring, what have you seen from him?
Yeah, he just continues to develop, and we're on him hard because we have high expectations for him, and Coach Hagan, coaches him really, really hard, and he's responded, and so, but just to me, it's about just continuing, the want to and the effort's always been really good for him. And it's just, to me, about taking that next step. We want him to, realize that, hey, he's a guy. I want him to dominate out here and expect to dominate. And he's got good size and length, and want him to continue to get stronger. Even as he's still young, but he's works hard in that weight room, and it's really, I think, transferring to the field, which you want to see.
I think it was the Michigan game last year. He's chasing down a tight end in coverage or something like that. I mean, is that kind of an example of the athleticism he has, and he brings to that position?
He does, and that's where, once again, to be able to do some things schematically, you got to be able to run, and run with running backs. We put our defensive ends in situations where they got to, have some of those responsibilities and run with tight ends at times. And if you ask a kid to do something he can't physically do, then that's on us as coaches, But we try and recruit guys that can do the things that give us more flexibility. And anytime you can kind of, hide who's going to take certain guys, or who's going to eliminate or add people into a pressure, or drop guys out of a pressure because of their athleticism, I think that really helps us a lot. And that bowl position is what we use that guy for, and both in coverage and in pressure and in some man coverage as well. So also we're going to do some things, just to try and be more multiple and versatile. So those are the kind of qualities we're looking for in those positions, and I think Madison's in that same spot, and James gives us a bigger version of that position, and he's got the size to play both positions on the defensive line.
What stood out to you about just the contributions from James Miller that you received? You mentioned him, I think, in February as a guy who would be in the mix in the Mike spot. What have you liked about his play?
Yeah, I tell you what, he's maybe the most improved linebacker, from fall to now, and a lot of it's just with, his footwork, just understanding the defense. I think it's hard for a freshman to come in here and it's not a mid-year guy, which he was not, to learn defense in one summer. And so I think it was a lot of things thrown at him, and his head was spinning a lot in fall camp, So, but having a whole year to learn and get stronger and move better. But he's always been physical. He's a violent guy now. That's just that was obvious the first time I watched him play, in high school. But that to be able to do a better job being a more well-rounded guy, and but the violence is still there. He finishes really, really strong, and just like how he's learning how to get his run fits, you know, and he's able to stand guys up in the hole and knock them back. We saw that against Michigan. You know, the few reps he played in that game showed up in a big way, and I think it kind of gave you just a snapshot of how talented he really is.
Coach, your defense in the 2-minute drill and in the team session seems to have hit a groove there where they got rolling.
They did.
What led to that?
Yeah, I would say early in practice, and I was kind of getting after him. So, you know, I'm on that megaphone, and I was putting some digs in and getting, you know, I just both to the coaches and the players, because I thought the offense was doing a lot of good things and making plays and getting some chunk plays and even during inside, I thought the offense. But then when second half practice, you know, they started, you know, getting, you know, they responded, you know, and which is what you want, you know. So I try to sometimes use that to our advantage, but at the same time, you know, it's like anything else. You feed off that momentum, the energy. We start making plays, start getting some takeaways, start getting some sacks, some pressures, some breakups, and then it just feeds. It becomes a feeding frenzy, you know, for the defense. And we're you know, I'm a high energy guy. I want us to be a high energy defense. I want our guys to coach that way, and we do. You know, I just think that you know, we've got a coaching staff that believes in that, you know, but the guys, you know, they're going to play to our personality. And so we want to be that kind of unit. You know, we want to have a swagger about us. We want to have a confidence about it. We step on that field. You know, I want our guys to expect to take the ball from the offense. I want us to expect to be great on 3 downs. I want us to expect to be a top 25 defense. And that's where, you know, you carry that, and it doesn't just happen. It has to be developed and has to be created, and it happens over time. But we had a really young group last year that is now a much more experienced group, and I think you're seeing, you know, the benefits of that even today, where they may have got off to, you know, you say a slow start. The offense was doing a lot of good things, and so, you know, but they responded, and then it just kept, you know, just kept building, and then they kind of dominated, I thought, the last half of practice in some key ways. So that's good. That's what you want to see, and then you want to see the offense come back next Thursday or this coming Thursday and respond as well, and they will, and our coaches are doing a great job.
The cliche question, just kind of health-wise, any major knocks or injuries to be concerned about at this point in spring?
You know, not so much to probably notice. I mean, I think there's your typical things. You know, guys get dinged up, and you know, we got to look at one of our linebackers. Thomas had some shoulder situation, so we're going to look at that today and see how that needs to be evaluated. But other than that, I think we came out of practice pretty clean. And even the scrimmage on Saturday, you know, we had some typical bumps and bruises and some soreness and all. And we had the flu bug, we've had more of that than anything. So we had a couple guys out again today, had a couple guys out on Saturday. So that's probably been the biggest thing numerically we've had to deal with. But hopefully it'll start getting a little warmer. That might help.
Do you feel like you're any closer to getting a result for the Jack Tuttle?
We are. I mean, we don't ever know for sure, but I would assume here in the next week or so, just based on when everything was turned in. So hopefully we'll get some closure on that either way.